Welcome back. Week 2. We're spending it in Barcelona once again as they take on Club America, who their first game didn't exactly go the way that they would hope, losing 7-0 to Bayern Munich, whereas Barcelona started off their season with a strong 4-1 victory over Manchester United. And you can see now signing Adama Timite, who listed as a center forward, playing keeper for the America squad, just further confusing us with the strategy of Alejandro Mesa Diaz, putting his strikers in net, his keepers on the outfield. I don't know that I'll ever understand what that man's trying to do. But first we look at Barcelona's lineup. They decided to go for a 3-4-3 this game with Levek Matri in the back, Jamie Kilty, Stephen Ness, the Scottish duo. Geronimo Moyano, a guy that didn't see a lot of time in the preseason, but definitely showed off in their first game of the year, and the return of Joshua Hamidou on the outside. And for Club America, there's only a couple changes here. We see Timite in the net, and we see Sasha Ziegler, the keeper from Game 1, slide out to right back. Again, I have to question what this lineup even is. It didn't produce fruit in really any of the preseason games. It did not produce fruit in the first game of the year. There's got to be something there, otherwise we wouldn't be doing this again. And we kick off today's game. Barcelona looking to make sure that they go up to 6 points out of 2 games this season. Shouldn't be too much of a challenge against a team that has scored 2 goals in 4 games, given up upwards of 25 goals, or possibly even 30 in their 4 games thus far. It should be a very lopsided affair as Moyano moves into the box for his first attempt. And Adama Timite, the keeper, with an amazing save on Sergei Rudenko's shot. You see Moyano across to Rudenko, and the striker with quick reflexes. Maybe there is something going on there that we're not ready for. But even still, it gives the first corner of the game. Tomas Rebane cleared out. Jamie Kilty. Oh my! From nearly 30 yards out, Jamie Kilty on the volley. Top corner. And it doesn't matter who's in net. Striker, keeper, center back. It wouldn't have mattered. That ball is going in. And we see this Barcelona crowd as excited as they should be. See it again. Rebane with a ball into the middle, left to be desired. But Jamie Kilty with the finish of the season so far. This perfectly placed. Arthur Guerin almost gets to it, but and what makes this goal even more impressive is Jamie Kilty, listed as a center back. First goal in the entire league this season scored by a player listed as a defender. Kick back off after the early goal, 5th minute for Barcelona, and we see Sergei Rudenko take the ball right back. And they charge back on this all-goalie lineup. Both these teams hoping to take at least some points away from today. I know America would be rather happy with a single point. It's Eric Valentin. All the time in the world. This is where you see a team that needs defensive presence. He was left by himself inside the 15-yard box. It's questionable what that team in America was even doing. Just running past him, allowing him to finish. It's his 2nd goal on the season, tying him with teammate Sergei Rudenko for the team lead, still behind Jack Flatch of Arsenal in the league. But if this is how the game's going to go, we're less than 10 minutes in, 2 goals already, it's not going to be a pretty final score. But on a good note, players returning from Africa this week, Joshua Hamidou, the lineup almost that America sent over to Africa has returned. We see a couple of them in the starters today, one of which being Hamidou from Barcelona, the other being Adama Timite, who was not in the league draft this season, was actually found over in Africa. He's originally from the Ivory Coast, as we see Murnane up into the box doing some fancy footwork things for a keeper. Finally dispossessed Joshua Hamidou, making the counter. But Timite from the Ivory Coast, very, very sound striker, as Joshua Hamidou on the run, all by himself. Decides to slow. Oh, nice little tip back. And Timite with another great save. This guy, 6'6", very pacey striker that they've decided to play in net, joined the team on nothing more than enjoying the way that Alejandro Mesa Diaz treated his people, said that's the kind of man that I want to play my football for, and came back, signed on for the rest of the season with this America lineup. So far, has made a couple of beautiful saves. I don't know that he's going to be able to maintain that and keep it up throughout the rest of the season, but you see his athleticism on display. Good attempt at an over-the-top ball. Rounded up by Hamidou, and Joshua Hamidou has already possessed the ball more in the first half of the game. As we see Rudenko, first time, first touch, no doubt. The ball movement from Barcelona is so much better than America's defending that it looks like men playing against boys. Scoreline goes to 3-0 on Rudenko's third goal of the season. And this is a stat pad day. I would be surprised if Barcelona doesn't continue going at this back line, who cannot keep up with them physically. Ability-wise, nothing that America has is going to be able to slow them down. But prior to the goal, we were talking about Joshua Hamidou's impact on the game. You see every time that the ball gets back a little bit, he's there chasing down the play from the wing position, getting back on defense, and moving the ball forward. It's something that the team didn't necessarily lack in their first game. Morten Pedersen is very, very good at what he does, but Hamidou's aggressiveness in doing it is what separates the two. And Tona Mas-Rebane slides out to his natural left mid position. Looked like there might have been a little bit of a clerical error when submitting lineups, where Rebane decided to play at center back instead of Pedersen, who actually does have experience at the position. And we see Hyunjun Maluda doing a little bit too much with the ball, gets it taken away. America, Dalgard up into Murnane. And you can't help but think, if they actually had guys like Karanzatos or Abbas Madarai in the side right now, that those would have been actual chances. Joshua Hamidou up into Morten Pedersen. Great shot, and we see our fourth goal of the game, 34 minutes in. It is Morten Pedersen, as we talked about just a minute ago. The man has incredible skill. He can finish with other foot. He's a strong man on the outside, but can get inside. And he's even got some defensive skill and experience where, God forbid, a guy like Levesque Matry or Stephen Ness or Jamie Kilty, anyone in that back line goes down. You have another guy with skill, with the knowledge, that can slide back there and fill the gap. But for now, up front, puts his team up 4-0. And you see why he's the Danish captain. This game from last game, you see America a little bit more comfortable on the ball, The keepers must have gotten a little bit of time and the pitch over the last week, understanding what level of competition they're up against, what type of training they're going to need to do to possibly produce later on in the season against guys who have been playing these midfield roles, these attacking roles for the entirety of their lives. Very good back and forth. Not too much progression forward, but you see that the team is doing better than they did early on in their game last week against Bayern Munich. Errant pass goes to Sergio Rudenko, who loses the ball on the dribble, taken back by Geronimo Moyano. Back and forth play inside the box. Not totally sure why Barcelona didn't at least attempt a shot on net there. Possibly trying not to run up the score too badly on a team that I'd say looks wounded, and Joshua Hamidou, his first time of asking, his first game of the season, he's got his first goal. The man he's elegant with the ball at his feet. He almost always makes the right decision. He's very hard to dispossess, and again, like Morten Pedersen, has defensive abilities from his past that make him a very well-rounded player. Today, playing up on the wing, nets himself a goal, and we've seen 5 goals so far from 5 separate players on Barcelona. The team is deep. They all have finishing ability, and you see it can come from anywhere. Left wing, right wing, center, forward, even one all the way from the back. And as the halftime whistle goes, Barcelona leads 5-0 over America. I don't know that this is a surprising scoreline to end the first half, as we highlight Sergio Rudenko, who's 1 for 2. That first shot that he took against Timite was wonderfully saved, so can't fault him for that. But if it weren't for a couple of key saves from Timite, America is looking at a 7-0 scoreline right now. And obviously at 5-0, this hole is very deep. I don't know that they dig out of it, since they haven't even scored yet this season in a game and a half of play. But you see Barcelona looking much more comfortable as we look at the save from Timite, looking much more comfortable in their link-up play. The presence of Joshua Hamidou on the right, of Thomas Rebane on the left instead of in the back, and coming through the middle with Moyano and Maluda. It's giving them a presence that, if they can carry this into their game next week against Bayern Munich, they will very possibly sit top of the table. The only other team that may equal them going into that week is Arsenal, who takes on Manchester United. It's going to be a very high-scoring game over there. If Man U can figure out what went wrong last week, shore it up this week, and finalize what it is next week, then we could see Barcelona sitting top of the table on 9 points with no one else within 3 points of them. Kickoff for the second half begin, and America right now, if I'm them, the talk in the locker room had to have been, let's try to at least get one back, give ourselves something positive to build on going into next week, taking on Inter Milan. It's rivalry week, and anything can realistically happen, but if this is the showing they're going to bring week in and week out, then it's going to be a very, very sad season for Club America. Well, even as they're working now, you see some progress from what they did last week. Their ball movement has been much better. There's less errant passes. They're still getting caught out pretty badly on defense, but it's not as bad. And it's against a side that I consider to be more complete in attack in Barcelona. Arthur Guerin been much more of a factor this game than he was last game. Murnane has been somewhat decent this game, playing around in the box a little bit as he gets the ball at his feet now. And you see just how quickly Barcelona can spring a counter. Moyano back to Hamidou. Good ball over the top, straight to Tomas Rebane. Pulls back. Valentin. Rudenko turns and cannot put it on target. Puts it wide of the net. You have to think at the pace that ball was moving, he would have beat Timite if he had actually put it on target. 3 missed chances so far for Barcelona. We see our first sub of the game. Morten Pedersen coming on for Danger Akita. 1-for-1 swap. Akita likes to play out on the outside. The Japanese winger making his second appearance of the season off the bench. And almost gets involved right away. Ball from Valentin a little bit off target. Taken over by Club America. Chavez, a couple of nice step overs. Gives it to Murnane, who absolutely muffs the skill. Rudenko slowly brings it up. Waits for his teammates to come into attack. Gets the ball back at his feet. And Sergej Rudenko with his second of the day. 6-0 Barcelona. And you're seeing a man who says, Jack Flatch, I'm coming for you. I am not going to let you run away with the scoring title in this league. It's going to be a battle until the very end. Those two teams will face off in week 4. And we'll see, can Flatch break down that Barcelona defense? Can Rudenko find the gaps in Arsenal's defense? Because right now, the two of them are an absolute tear. Flatch with a hat trick in his first game. Rudenko nets in his 4th of the season right there. We're looking at two guys who are poised to win the Golden Boot in the league. They're both very, very talented on their playmaking as well, as we see Maluda coming off for Navas, a free agent signing for Barcelona. Good to see him get on the field. But with the woes for Manchester United in their first game, as far as putting the ball in the back of the net, I don't know that they have a guy that's going to contend for the league scoring title. As we see the ball get forward, Zarek Valentin, all by himself, and decides to bring it back across. Oliver with a nice cutout, but that's one where you either have to pass that early or you have to put the shot on target. He decided to hold the ball a little bit too long and allow the defender to get back. Rebane's second corner of the day. First one resulted in a very nice shot from the volley. Let's see what they do this time. A little bit deeper into the box. Comes back to Rebane. Joshua Hamidou on the end line. Navas with his first shot, cut out nicely by the center back on America. Not sure who it was, but you see Barcelona starting to slow up a little bit as Arthur Guerin brings the ball up that left wing, playing it back to Chavez, Murnane. And you could tell what Murnane has been working on the training pitch. He's definitely been working on his skill moves. He's been trying to get a little bit fancy today. Possibly later on in the season we see that pay off for him, but so far today and last week it did not do much as far as attacking. Rudenko back to Hamidou. Ziegler, nicely cut out. Name that we haven't called out much today. But Sasha Ziegler, very strong first game. Did give up a ton of goals. We see Zarek Valentine come off for Dario Toman. Guy, seeing his first action of the season. We'll see what he can do. But not Zarek Valentine, Sasha Ziegler had not a good performance last week. Gave up 7 goals. Very hard to call that a good performance. But was, without question, the bright spot for Club America. Did not get anything going offensively. Provided a few wonderful saves. That scoreline could have been a lot worse than 7-0. Ends up getting put into play right back today. As we see Geronimo Moyano. Played back to Navas. Back to Moyano. Puts one off target. Very similar situation to Rudenko's, where the pace on that ball puts it in the net if he puts it on target. But after game 1 putting in 2 goals, you gotta think Moyano's not done for the season. He's gonna end up with a few more. He's a guy that earned himself a position in that starting 11 and is being rewarded for the way that he's been performing. Oliver can't handle the ball. Hamidou. Rebane playing inside the box. Rudenko. And those are the kinds of opportunities that you see Barcelona's getting them. That's about the 3rd time they turned the ball over with a weak cross across every defender. Those are the types of things you can't do against better teams. Tomas to Tomas. Tomas Reben. Moyano. And game in hand, we're going to see Barcelona come away with a victory here. But as we look forward to next week, Barcelona takes on Bayern Munich. Both teams have already played America, so we can kind of judge what their strengths are based on playing the same opponent. And as of right now, obviously Bayern put in more goals week 1 than Barcelona will here today. But the way that Barcelona moves the ball is what would have me worried if I'm Bayern Munich. We'll see today how Bayern do against Inter Milan. And, oh no. Yes. No? Yes. We'll see how Bayern do today against Arsenal, actually. My mistake. Started looking ahead a little bit too far. But if Bayern can produce a good showing against Arsenal, I think that they do have a chance against this Barcelona squad, as strong as they look. But America, they are the team that will play Inter Milan next week. And after week 1, 2 teams, bottom of the table. I'd say it's going to be a boring game, but Inter Milan takes on Manchester United today. And in my preseason predictions, I said they're going to take a game off of someone. Right now, well, they can't take it off Arsenal. They've already lost there. Right now, based on week 1, Manchester United looks the most vulnerable. They did not do a good job of controlling the middle of the field. They did not do a good job of providing chances for their own strikers, which I thought was going to be a very, very big, strong spot for them. We could be talking about Inter being on 3 points next week. Obviously, America on none. And we could be possibly talking about a Bayern-Barcelona undefeated match next week. But today it was all Barcelona. We see why Joshua Hamidou is such a influential player. Got Morten Pedersen involved more than he was week 1. Tomas Rebane had a much stronger game this week, playing at a more natural position, and even that rocket of a volley from Jamie Kilty from well outside the box. For me, right now, that's my goal of the season. We're still early. We're only a third of the way through the season, but wonderful shot. Wonderful shot from the Scottish center back. But final score here in Barcelona, 6, America 0. And thank you guys for staying all the way to the end of the game. I will catch you next week.